Urban today said you gave him a deadline this morning. Was the timetable of this whole decision laid out by you, or was it in combination with Urban? Or why did this happen now, from your perspective?
Yeah, so every Sunday, and I've always done this, even with Trust was here. Every Sunday I'm in the Woody, and so after the Indiana game in October is when it really started to escalate. And so we would talk about his future, and so as it evolved, really probably before the game against the team up north, that Sunday before was when, I was pretty firm. We're going to have to make a decision. If we win that game and we're in Indianapolis, then we'll make the decision after Indianapolis. If we don't win that game, heaven forbid, then we'll have to make the decision after that game. There had to be a definitive answer from him for our players, for our fans, for you guys, for everybody, because it's been out there. So he and I agreed that needed to happen. And we also agreed it was important to happen for what he talked about a lot up there, recruiting. If he's gonna walk, then it has to be expeditious to allow ourselves time to get the right guy in place to go and, salvage recruiting. So that's really how the timeline happened.
Well, let me ask you this. You know his history, and you know that he's at times felt better and times felt worse when it comes to his health. Why not give him some time to step away, maybe separate himself from the season before making a decision? Or is that all about recruiting, like you said?
It's all about recruiting. And, last Friday, before they got on the bus, he and I had a conversation, and I was really trying to convince him to stay. Because I laid out a strategy to go one more year. But he and I know the practical realities of what we're trying to do here. He wants this program to continue to be successful. And if he had taken that amount of time, that would, some people would say, would be natural, take a couple weeks. We'd be, December 14th or 15th or somewhere in that window. Signing date's the 19th. And we got 14 or 15 verbal commitments. You have collateral damage. So if you want your program to continue on this trajectory, then you make some personal sacrifices. And that's what he and I agreed to do was, look, and that's why we talked every Sunday, trying building up to this. And so that when we got to that point, I think we had covered every base before we got to these last 48 hours.
Now, Ryan had some opportunities to coach elsewhere after last season.
Right.
It's one of the great what-ifs now in Ohio State history. How much was this decision today smoothed over, enabled by the fact that he is still here and is on the staff?
Oh, huge. He had opportunities. As he was one of our first $1 million coaches, assistant coaches. And so when we did that contract, it was that understanding that he was that valuable. And then this year, he's been getting calls, but he stayed singularly focused on our teams. And so it's important. Having him here makes this transition so much easier. And
Urban would have been given a veto, I imagine, if he didn't want Ryan to be his replacement?
No, I leaned on Urban a lot about Ryan, about his skills from an X and O point of view. I saw how he is as a leader of people. That was easy for me to see. But I was leaning on Urban a lot for his X's and O's, his IQ around football, which is extremely high. I think we've seen that. So Urban and I are like this. It's not like, it's rare that we disagree. We're philosophically alike.
It's impossible and then to say how much he contributed to the decision because you're so on the same page.
Yeah. I mean, obviously during our time we were suspended, he was watching the games and the X's and O's, and I was watching how Ryan handled everybody else. I mean, you guys understand this because you see it. People don't understand what it means to have trainers and doctors in your decision-making process that affects your life every single day, and frankly, you have no say. That's not the same everywhere. Or academic support people telling you know what? That kid should not go to class, should not go to practice. He needs to go to class, and this is why. And then have a coach understand that without hesitancy, and say, what? You're going to class because you'll be late to practice. Or no, you're not going to get on the bus and go with us. You're going to come after. You're going to come later. We don't miss many classes on Friday. So when that happens, that means that kid's on the bubble. So, we don't have to do that with Ryan.